Now let's consider the fourth example problem. So in this problem, we have a number of teams. Each team has uniforms for home game and for a guest game, and the color are different. So the home uniform color is always different from these teams, the guest uniform color. And when two teams play, it will be in one team's home court. Then the guest team will wear the guest color, and the home team will wear the home color. However, sometimes there's a conflict. So the guest team's guest color may be exactly the same as the home team's home color. So in which case, the home team should accommodate the guest team to let the guest team wear what they should wear. So in order to do that, the home team will wear their own guest color. So because the guest color is guaranteed to be different from home color, so there won't be a conflict once we made the switch. So we have n teams, and we are given the colors, home and guest colors for all of them. And every pair of two teams will play two games, um, so each hosting one game. And the problem asks us to compute the number of games so that the home team need to wear its guest color. So suggest you think about the problem, try to code it, and see how it goes. So first thing is we need to be able to read in these input values and store them. So there are different ways to do it. Here, for simplicity, we're going to use two separate lists. One store all the home colors, one store all the guest colors, and they'll be matched. So the first element of home color and the first element of guest color will be the first team. And second, then we just need to consider every game. So we need to go through every game and then check whether the home team's home color is the same as guest team guest color, in which case we need to increment the counter. So that's pretty much it. So I think yeah, so the reading this input part is I guess the first time we encounter the case that we need to use two lists to store the information. So this is one version of the code. We first read in n, the number of teams, and then we are going to read in the colors for all the n teams. So we declare the two lists, home colors and guest colors, and they're both initialized to empty list. So I actually tried this, this should be colors, but I actually tried this home colors equals guest colors equal empty list, and these does not work. So if you don't believe me, I suggest you try it. And the reason is this syntax, because this is a list, it's complex value. So when we do this, home color and guest color will be assigned to the same list. So then if we make change to one of them, this list will change. So then we will be able to see from the other variable. So in other words, we don't have two separate lists that are both empty. Instead, we only have a single list, and both home color and guest color will point to that list. So that's not what we want. So then the next couple of lines, reading the input. So for each team, we read in the line, and so we get home colors and the guest colors, and then we add them to this two list. And then the rest of the code compute the answer. So we initialize the answer value to 0. So before we looked, there's 0 game. We'll satisfy the condition. And then we use a double loop or a nested loop where there's outer loop over all value from 0 to n, and the inner loop also loop all value from 0 to n. And we use two different loop variables, I and j. And what we have in mind is we are considering Team I hosting Team J to play the game. So and that happens only when I and J are not the same. And so then there's actually a game. then we check whether home color I equals guest color J. When that happens, then that means the team I must wear their guest uniform. So we add 1 to our answer. And after that, we just print it out. So that's one version. So I'm going to show a second version, which is more authentic Python, if you will. So it uses some syntax that are specific to Python. And that is beyond this topic. So you don't need to understand this code or follow all I'm going to say next. But yeah, I just want to give a sense of how, if you really do it in the Python style, this will be the way to do it. But I want to teach this style because this is the same. You will be writing similar code whether you are using Java or C or C++. And on the other hand, the syntax here will be specific to Python. And I think it's still understandable. So it's just this one line will read the n lines, one for each team. So the for loop is here. So basically, we are going to do this thing n times. And each time, what do? We read in a line and then we split. And then this is assigned to list, this LST variable. So then LST will be a list of lists. It will store a list of lists. So if there are 4 teams and these are their home and guest colors, then LST will store this list of 4 elements, and each of the 4 elements is a list of 2 elements. The first one is the home color, the second one is guest color. And also note that they're not even converting the number into integer, because all we care about is equality. So we can compare equality when there are strings, because there's the number will be uniquely represented by the strings because there's no extra white space to confuse things. And another thing to note is that in this code, we didn't even check that I and J are not equal, because if I and J are equal, it's guaranteed that I0 will not be equal to I1. Oh, also, by the way, here the list I and J item, the loop variable I and J, they will be instantiated with each of these list of 2 items. So I will take the value of a list of this 142, and then the second time the I will take this 42 and 100. So here I and J are not integers. Instead, they are a list of 2 elements. So that's why this syntax makes sense. So team I hosting team J, even when I and J are the same, then I0 cannot equal I1. So therefore, it is fine. We don't have to check to do this only when I does not equal J. So that's it for this problem.